Plates is a poem by Elizabeth Smither, written in free verse and without regular rhyme scheme. The speaker is likely an unnamed female reflecting a childhood memory of braiding 2 plaits of hair. The poem contains a total of 15 verses divided into 5 stanzas with 3 lines each stanza or tercets, which, interestingly, makes each stanza a figurative plait braided into 3 verses. Don't forget to subscribe. The poem begins with the speaker describing her 2 plaits using the imagery of snakes. The anaconda plait suggests something thick, strong, and powerful, while the thin grass snake is much smaller and more delicate. This contrast could symbolize duality, perhaps between strength and fragility, tradition and modernity, or 2 aspects of the speaker's identity. The reference to snakes also adds a sense of movement and life, making the hair feel lively rather than static. The parting of the hair is compared to natural imagery. A harvest suggesting abundance and fertility, a waterfall that is powerful and flowing, and a thin trickling river which could represent something weaker or more subdued. Like the first stanza, there's a contrast between richness and scarcity, power and gentleness, possibly reflecting aspects of personal identity. Also, the harvest, waterfall and river evokes the natural imagery and pastoral landscape of Smither's home of New Zealand. The third stanza describes the 2 plaits, one thick and one thin, being tied together with a ribbon. The word companionably suggests harmony and friendship, showing that despite their differences, the plaits exist peacefully together. The wide ribbon acts as a symbol of unity, holding them together in an equal and balanced way. The loops and bows being equal reinforce the idea that even though the 2 plaits are different in size, they are treated with the same care. The fourth stanza continues the idea of balance between opposites. The verse "the weak and the strong were strong together" suggests that strength is not just about being individually powerful but about supporting each other. The plaits, despite their differences, become stronger by being woven together, just like people or communities can. The image, the raised segments of hair, a wide and thin muscle, compares the plaits to a muscle, emphasizing not only their physical strength but also their resilience. This could symbolize unity in diversity, showing that different elements, when combined, can create something stronger and more powerful than they would be alone. The final stanza uses hair as a metaphor for justice. The phrasal lesson suggests that the speaker has learned something important, possibly about fairness or inequality. Using the extended metaphor of hair that hangs down their back, and since the speaker cannot see their own back, this suggests that the lesson is something they must experience rather than observe. Justice, an abstract concept, is not always physically visible, but can be felt, suggesting that people experience fairness or unfairness in their everyday lives. The word distributed implies that justice is not given equally to everyone. This could hint at social or racial inequality, where some people feel injustice more than others. Let's thematically analyze Plaits by Elizabeth Smither. The poem reflects on how the speaker's hair was always uneven because of the way it was parted. One braid was thick, the other thin. The thick braid is compared to a strong, muscular anaconda, while the thin one is like a small grass snake. Later, the poem reinforces this contrast with a waterfall which is powerful and full, and a thin trickling river that is small and weak. These comparisons emphasize how the 2 braids are different in size and strength. This difference might symbolize the speaker's own personal qualities, perhaps one braid represents confidence and the other timidity. Or the poem can be interpreted as a difference between 2 different cultural, political, or social groups. The poem suggests that both strength and imperfection come from the same place and are part of who we are. Once the 2 braids are tied together, their differences fade, forming a single, unified plait. The word companionably makes it seem like the braids are like 2 people or groups who have overcome their differences to become partners or communities. These differences could be physical or personality-based, but once the braids are joined, they no longer matter. Hair braiding is an intimate act, and the word tied reminds us of phrases like family ties, suggesting a close bond, perhaps even like a marriage. Just as 2 very different people can complement and support each other, the 2 braids become stronger together. The poem makes this point clear by saying the strands are raised, instead of one dragging the other down, they lift each other up. The wide ribbon that holds the braids together symbolizes balance and equality. Since the ribbon's loops and bows are equal, it represents how, once joined, individual differences disappear in unity. In the final stanza, the poet compares the weight of her hair to the weight of justice. The lesson she learned as a child is that justice happens when the strong and the weak work together for the good of everyone. Now that the hair is evenly braided and hangs straight down her back, it represents a world where everyone has a fair share, no one is left out, and people support each other rather than compete. Hope you like and subscribe for more poem analysis videos.